Hey fellow moviegoers, it's me, Phil. Well, right now it's pouring down rain, but it's a good thing because I will be inside. I am visiting the Caln Roller Rink in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be seeing the Brandywine Roller Girls in action, and they're also showing a movie here called The Kansas City Bomber. Oddly enough, it's a movie from 1972, although it's not on the Dying Breed Movie Club's 1001 list. It's still 1972, and we'll just treat it as extra credit. Also in this episode, we're going to go see Your Highness and the Conspirator. A lot of stuff is going on in episode 2, and I will see you soon. Okay everybody, I'm getting ready to go see Your Highness at AMC Painters Crossing in Concordville. Let's get going. In Your Highness, which was written by Danny McBride, Prince Fabius, played by James Franco, the next successor to the king's throne and the one man adored by the whole kingdom, has to go on a quest to find his bride, played by Zooey Deschanel, who has been kidnapped by an evil warlock. His stoned, inept younger brother Thaddeus, played by McBride, who is jealous of his brother's fame and accolades that he always gets from his father and the citizens, reluctantly, mostly from pressure from the king, sets off to aid his brother to find his lost bride. Along the way, they run into Isabel, played by Natalie Portman, who also is on a quest to revenge the deaths of her brothers. Swordplay, magic, and potty humor ensues. AMC Painters Crossing in Concordville, Pennsylvania was built in 1989. It was originally an Acme building and by 1990 was a full 9-room multi-screen theater. The last time I was there was around 1995, and after my shoes were cemented to the floor by old soda goop, I never went back. Fortunately, it went through an upgrade and now seems to be on the upswing. I was very impressed by how nice it looks now. However, it still has the shoulder-high seats, and I kind of like the ones that go all the way up to the top of my head. What really surprised me was the fact that this was also an action fantasy film with warlocks, witches, dragons, etc. The effects look really good and the adventure is fun to follow. The comedy is juvenile, but it works among the rest of the components that the filmmakers decided to use. Hey everybody, well, I think I liked it. It started out a little lame, kind of unoriginal. I was going like, I bet he's gonna do that. I bet he's gonna do that. What really hurt this film was the first 15 minutes. Danny dishes out some unoriginal comedy and predictable setup in the beginning, but it seemed like he saved the good stuff for last. I did notice a lot of editing mistakes, and James Franco still looked as cardboard and lost, just like he did on Oscars night, but I like him and it seemed to work. I'm probably leaning towards a B, but Your Highness, not too bad. Also, check out these film appreciation, criticism, discussion sites out too.
Digging Star Wars, the online journal of the films that inspired George Lucas to create the Star Wars saga. Please look for our next episode on diggingstarwars.blogspot.com. With that in mind, think, post, and accept my thanks for listening.
And check out comedyfilmnerds.com with comedians Chris Mancini and Graham Elwood. and featuring Nia Weekly as the kitten hands loving average moviegoer at comedyfilmnerds.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you your very own Brandywine Roller Girls!
The Brandywine Roller Girls is a skater-owned 18-plus women's roller derby league in Chester County, Pennsylvania. Once the league has the required amount of girls needed for each team, which will eventually consist of 3 teams with about 15 girls on each team, they will compete against one another until they are eligible to play other teams in the area. I was invited to come see their debut event, introducing roller derby to the community and giving people a little taste of an actual bout at the Caln Roller Rink in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. My very good friend Jessica Sergi Davis is one of the managers. Jessica Savage, as she is called, manager of the Brass Knuckle Betties, was calling lineups for the white team that evening. What was really cool was the fact that they were showing Raquel Welch's famous roller derby movie from 1972 called Kansas City Bomber, a perfect situation for the Dying Breed Movie Club and Phil Meets the Movies.
Why don't you try nothing?
The Dying Breed Movie Club is a movie appreciation group that was formed in 2006. Loosely based on the book The 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die by Stephen J. Schneider, the group sets out to explore and pronounce that movies from any era are important. Once the club is done watching all the movies in a particular year from the book, and a selection of additional extra credit films picked by the club, they will again roll 2 10-sided die, or they will have a vote to see what the next year will be that they will explore.
By the dawn of the 1970s, Raquel Welch was a huge star, and she took a gamble to do a film written by a UCLA film student. Kansas City Bomber would boost her further into iconic status, even though she was already pretty much iconic after she did the prehistoric bikini look in 1 Million Years BC in 1966. But I grew up remembering her in the roller derby jersey on the cover of Life magazine. The movie highlights the roller derby world and at the same time tries to highlight a dramatic, serious story surrounding the main character, Casey Carr, played by Welch. She is a divorced mother trying to make ends meet, who is a star in her field, teetering on superstardom. Unfortunately, her romantic interest and owner of the roller derby team, played by Kevin McCarthy, promises her the superstardom at a price. It was hard to enjoy the film because of all that was happening here at the roller rink. My friend Aaron and I had a quick chat about the film when it was over. So, Aaron, what did you think of the movie?
I liked the movie.
It was definitely a low-budget movie. You could definitely see that.
Yeah, and the story lacked a lot.
Yeah.
There's no meat to it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to watch it again.
I'm going to do the same thing and order it on Netflix.
Uncut.
Uncut, definitely. Uncut.
We got to get up now.
Oh. Well, Aaron and I were right. I needed to see this film again in the privacy of my own home. I got my hands on a DVD of the movie and curled up one night to give the movie a real chance. It is much better on DVD, completely remastered in widescreen, uncensored, and with real audio. The two interlinking stories offer an interesting contrast to each other. While we have the silly WWF-like roller derby drama that features most of the questionably bad acting, the other part of the story is the one that really moves the film along, even though the romantic dialogue is brutal. Sure, it is dated, cheesy, and very 70s, but it also gives you an excellent taste of why the 70s was so cool. The roller derby scenes are silly, but offer that good guy, bad guy scenario that appeal to the WWF-like crowds. I'm glad I got a second chance to watch it, because bad acting and cheesiness aside, it is an above-average movie. Pretty good for a film student. Hey everybody, how's it going? I am getting ready to go see The Conspirator. I am currently in Westchester on Market Street. This building right here is where they wrote the first Lincoln biography in 1860. It's a very cool looking place. I better get going. I have to go all the way down to the Delaware state line. I get down there to the Brandywine 16 to see the Conspirator, so let's get going. The Conspirator picks up right after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln during the final days of the Civil War in 1865. As you know, he was shot by John Wilkes Booth, and Booth was shot dead shortly after that. What you may not know is that the original conspiracy involved a group of people, along with Booth, who planned to kidnap the president, but because Lincoln changed his plans that evening, it forced Booth's hand, and he shot Lincoln at the Ford Theater. This film is about the people who aided John Wilkes Booth in this conspiracy. The film's plot revolves around the mother, Mary, played by Robin Wright, of Booth's right-hand man, John Surratt, and if she knew and played a part in any of this. This film is Robert Redford's 8th directorial film. The Regal Brandywine Town Center 16 in Concord, Delaware, just over the Pennsylvania border, was built in 1997. It is a monster. The first and second floors originally were part of an amusement center called Funscape, which had miniature golf, a go-kart track, video games, etc. But that would come to an end just a few years after that. So the place is huge and you have to hike to the third floor to see the movies. At least there are escalators. There is stadium seating, which is nice. Well, the parking lot is completely full. It's crazy. Well, this side ain't too bad, but I'm gonna head in, so wish me luck. You feel the anger and the sadness in the film felt by the citizens and the ensuing witch hunt that gets the film moving. The true emotion comes from revenge and the need to find a guilty party, even if they had nothing to do with it. The country needed its pound of flesh, and Lincoln's Secretary of War, Edwin Stanton, played by Kevin Kline, would supply it even if it meant destroying the innocent. This is the driving force that catapults the film forward in the second half, because at first I felt that the film was thin on an idea. That would change and the film would improve as we enter the second hour. That place is a maze. It took me so long to get to the movie, I missed the first couple minutes. And then I sit next to a woman that looked like she was my 3rd grade English teacher. And she kept looking at me every time I tried to open up my peanutty M&Ms. It was horrible. I basically ate my M&Ms at the end of the movie during the credits because I was too afraid to move or do anything. Director Robert Redford painstakingly took the time for historical accuracy. The sets look fantastic, as well as the costumes, and the acting is superb, especially Kevin Kline. This is a methodical, smart movie, and once it gets cooking, and you feel the anger and revenge and understand how the politics of the whole thing was handled, the film is quite sobering once you reach the end and find the message. The movie was pretty good, compelling, interesting. For a little while I thought maybe thin on an idea, but it was neat to find out all these other interesting components to what was going on back during the Lincoln assassination. But the Regal in Brandywine, don't go there on the Saturday before Easter. No way. So, alright, gonna head home. Okay everybody, that was episode 2 of Phil Meets the Movies. It was a busy episode. The Brandywine Roller Girls Derby was great. You should go. You will have a great time just like I did with my friends. In the next episode of Phil Meets the Movies, I show you how Arthur turned into Hannah. Also, I go see Scream 4, and my friend Rich Shoemaker and I visit the Dying Breed Movie Club and watch the very creepy Pink Flamingos from 1972. And I finally get my hair cut. On the next episode of Phil Meets the Movies.
Phil Meets the Movies is produced by Deep Lake Pictures Entertainment and has no connection to any of the movies, artists, or motion picture companies seen in Phil Meets the Movies whatsoever. Copyrights for films, images, sound bites, trademark characters, and related materials discussed in Phil Meets the Movies remain with their respective owners. All materials are solely used for criticism, discussion, and artistic interpretation based on the fair use laws of the United States.